Hi everyone, this is the learning activity number 10, Evidence 6 video, steps to export, international business, Servicio Nacional de Aprendizaje. Now the table of contents. Here we find number 1, introduction. This contains a summary of the topic that we will be talking about. 2, steps to export. In this section, we will describe the most relevant steps when we are going to do export in Colombia. 3, conclusion. Here are some of the most important aspects that must be taken into account when undertaking a planned service export. And 4, the reference. Here we are going to find the sources on which we base this presentation. Introduction. Local companies often start exporting in response to a business opportunity. However, when trying to take advantage of it, they face challenges and requirements that they do not know how to face because they are not prepared. For this reason, we as international negotiators must be willing and have clear knowledge about how to carry out an export plan. Within the steps to export, it is necessary to check if the company is ready to export, identify markets with opportunity, know the needs of the client, and offer specialized service are some of the aspects that must be taken into account when undertaking a plan. Now the steps to carry out an export process. 1. Company creation. To export a certain product or service, you must have one. So you should create a company although have one. Therefore, it is essential that you establish yourself as a company and duly serve with the Chamber of Commerce to legitimize their activity and exploitation process. 2. Evaluate if your company is ready to export. Your company should have prepared an international marketing plan with defined strategies and goals. Must have sufficient production capacity to serve the export market. Must have sufficient financial resources to actively support the marketing of its service in the export market. And 4, the management of the company must be committed to the development of the export market and has the interest and capacity to commit personnel, time, and resources to the process. 3. Set clear objectives. 1. Identify opportunities. One of the first steps of the export process is to identify in which markets there are opportunities for the product or service that is to be commercialized, and for it is necessary to set specific objectives. 2. Betting on alliance. Alliances are essential. In this area, Colombia has an advantage, so you need to review possible alliance or agreements between countries. 3. Market study. Studies allows the company to identify how competitive it can become with its products or service in certain markets. 4. Understanding needs of the clients, knowing the market preference and reach precisely the final client. 4. Identify the applicable regulation in the country of the destination of your export. Review the tax treatment that will be given to your service in the destination country of the export. For cross-border trade, take into account the regulation on withholding tax on the provision services. Regarding the issue of the physical presence of people, keep in mind the applicable regulations, licenses, registration, and authorization to provide the service. In addition, immigration regulations, visas, and entry permits. 5. Special regimes. Identify if your economic activity can apply to any of the special regimes provided by the government to promote foreign trade in services. 6. Export documents, commercial invoice, transport document, and bill of lading, aid waiver or letter of courage. Packing list, approve if it is applicable, certificate of origin if it required, declaración de importación, export licenses, request for good use. The fulfill of this requirement has to do fundamentally with the protection of human and animal health. And now 7. Production process. The spread procedure begins as soon as the production process is carried out at the exported factory. After this, the respective packaging is carried out for the correct handling and mobilization of the merchandise, depending on the quantity required to satisfy the importer's order. Internal transport process. Once the production process is complete, the merchandise is transported from the factory to the maritime terminal, international airport, or land border. Now, some important things that we should have into account when making an exportation. 1. Income terms. This contract will include one of the international negotiation standards, income terms, which stipulates costs and risks. These are two types, multimodal and maritime. 2. Forms of payment and reimbursement currencies. It is necessary to previously agree with your counterpart abroad the means of payment to use. 3. Tariff classification. That is what determines how to classify the products to be exported. The digits that the classification presents indicate in the first 6 digits the tariff subheading. They also identify the merchandise or product in
New international order from a brand new market? Here's what you should focus on to get started exporting with UPS. First, know your market. Country and territory guides on UPS.com offer insight on how to ship to new countries and break down unique customs regulations. Then, ensure you have the right documentation to cross borders without delays. With our suite of tradeability web tools, you can find out about tariffs and fees and check some of the latest U.S. export license requirements for your products. Explore our online service selector to find out how you'll get your product to market with a range of time and day-definite UPS shipping options across the globe. Finally, streamline your export process and send customs documents electronically with tools like UPS.com guided shipping and UPS paperless invoice. Rely on support and expertise from the world's largest customs broker, UPS, at ups.com/international.
Now we can find a video that is over here. So if you want to know more information about what is exporting and what you need to know about it, I recommend you to watch this video and I hope you like it. And finally, the conclusions. And all of this, we can conclude that the action of carrying out an export initially requires an orientation to determine the most basic aspects that it entails. So in the future, it can be clear that it's an export and the actions that are carried out at each stage from merchandise goods until that leaves the national territory. It is also important to take into account the export regimes and use them depending on the needs of each exporter. Well, here we are going to find the reference and which will base or this whole presentation. So here we could find like Cámara de Comercio de Bogotá, ProColombia, Colombian Trade y breve introducción a la exportación. Well, that was pretty much it. I hope you have learned something new or improved your data knowledge. And that's it. Thank you for watching all this video and bye bye.